In January 1974, one of the best sci-fi TV shows ever debuted, The $6 Million Man. 50 years ago, Colonel Steve Austin was the most original, the coolest, and the grooviest superhero to ever appear on the silver screen. Let's take a look at some of the most iconic moments of the Bionic Man. Hey everybody, welcome back to Damper 3. As always, I'm Eric.
And it's Jeff.
So everyone, 50 years ago this year, we were introduced to Steve Austin and the $6 Million Man. And in case you didn't catch it, our namesake comes from that series. Here, we're going to play that again for you.
Coming forward with the side stick. Looks good. Roger. I've got a blowout. Damper 3.
You know, the $6 Million Man didn't start as a television series, right? There was a series of 3 made-for-television movies that kicked off, that kind of introduced us to the character. First of all, a lot of you folks probably know, the super fans out there know that this was based off of a book, right? Written by an author named Martin Keidan. I think I'm pronouncing his name correctly. It's called Cyborg, and it was about Steve Austin. And I actually tried to go out. I thought, wow, if we're going to talk about the $6 Million Man, I want to read the source material. I cannot read the source material. It is out of print, and the cheapest copy I could find was $55. And so I'm not that dedicated to reading the source material. $6 Million Man kicks off in January of 1974 as a series. Again, 1973, they had 3 made-for-TV movies. First one was one called The Moon and the Desert, and that's where we get introduced to Steve Austin, his crash and his rehabilitation. And it was surprisingly deep, I thought, because, you know, he really struggled with his new life as a machine man, right? The second one in that series was called Wine, Women, and War. Steve is really butting heads with OSI, and he does not like he thinks they're dirty, and he gets injured in a mission at the beginning where it looks like they're really trying to transform him into James Bond. The first time you see him in the second movie, he's wearing the tuxedo and he's at this gala ball, and he goes out, but then he jumps in the water and swims towards a submarine, and he gets attacked and things like that. And spoiler, okay guys, this is a 50-year-old spoiler, so I apologize. Steve finds weapons dealers who are trying to sell nuclear warheads, and Steve's pretty pissed at them. I'm trying to remember if they killed his girlfriend or what, but he's pretty ticked, so he winds up detonating his nuke down in the Bahamas. Now, okay, let's pretend for a second that this is an uninhabited island and it's only just them, but this is a nuclear warhead,
Inhume with extreme prejudice.
He knew what he was doing. So, Jeff, let's talk about iconic moments. Tell me what's the first thing that sticks in your mind when you think of $6 Million Man?
The first thing that I found, well, I say the first, my first honorable mention was this one blonde newscaster got a video. This was she's newsreel. She was the camera, and she got video she filmed, because it was not digital. She got film of Steve Austin jumping a 12-foot fence to jump over and save a spacecraft that was messing up on the launch pad. And her boss, of the news desk, kidnaps Steve to sell him to a foreign country. Steve gets kidnapped a lot more than you would think possible for somebody that could lift up a car. But anyway, the very next episode, there was a scientist kidnapped, but she was a computer scientist, and she had written code, some cryptography code, that allowed all the computers worldwide to connect to one another.
Oh, so you're telling me she's responsible for this mess?
Her last name's Gore. No. That was January 10th of 1975. Wow. She coded the internet.
Wow.
There was an episode called The $7 Million Man.
I saw something on that. Yeah.
Yes. And he was a he was a race car driver who got into a bad wreck, and they made him into a Bionic Man to the tune of $7 million. And Steve, his name was Barney Miller. He came back a few episodes later as Barney Hiller, and that was to keep him from being confused with the police chief that was in charge of Wojciechowicz and Fish, Ron Harris, Dietrich, and Nick Yamana.
From here on out, I'm assuming Barney is bionic.
Yeah, yeah, that stands to reason.
It's all one big universe.
The next one is Sonny Bono. I don't remember what his character was, but Sonny Bono was on the show.
Huh.
And he was an old college friend of Steve Austin. And somebody was trying to kill Sonny Bono, and somebody dropped this huge crate down from the rafters, and Steve used his bionic arm and blocked it and saved him. And Sonny Bono couldn't know that he was bionic, so he said, "Oh, it was just a trick." Anyways, at the end, there was another big crate that fell, and Sonny Bono saved Steve from this crate that nearly fell on him. He said, "Well, I guess we're even now, buddy." And then these two dancing girls come out, because he was an entertainer. These two dancing girls came out and said, "Are we done with this?" And they picked it up and walked off with it. So I remembered that one just because I always liked Sonny and Cher and Sonny Bono.
Season 2, episodes 19 and 20 is where we get introduced to the Bionic Woman.
Bionic Woman.
And that is where Jamie Summers first enters. That was, aside from just being cool, because I remember seeing an interview with Lee Majors, and he actually complained saying, essentially it's a sausage fest around here. Shouldn't Steve Austin, have some kind of romantic options? And they came up with Lindsay Wagner, because, Lindsay Wagner's character, with Jamie Summers, because they're like, yeah, I guess we could do something like that. And so they introduced her and came up with the Bionic Woman series storyline, which is, I remember being traumatized by it. I didn't understand, because, she seemed like a really cool character, and then they kill her.
They kill her off.
They just kill her off. And so they introduced her, but obviously had a big impact. They were able to figure out that she was a likable character, because just a few episodes later, season 3, episodes 1 and 2, that's where you get the return of the Bionic Woman, and they introduce her back into the storyline. Steve's legs get mangled during a mission.
In a mob thing.
Yep.
Enough. Now, real quick, I'm going to interrupt. That whole mob crushing his legs thing bothered me quite a bit, because he had nuclear reactors in his bionic appendages. He didn't have, a USB port that he plugged in to recharge every night. He had reactors, and that was radiation that was going to leak out and kill everybody.
Well, yeah, we're going to talk about that again here in just a few seconds, I think. So that was, like, to me, like one of the first iconic memories, the introduction of Jamie Summers, and how, this idea of a nuclear family, as it were. So Bigfoot.
Oh, wow. Okay. So in the Bigfoot episodes, they have that tunnel with the spinning thing going around it. And you see the actors, and they're going through it, and they're falling over. And I remember thinking as a kid, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. That doesn't make any sense at all. And no, that was not acting. They literally could not keep their footing. Steve and Bigfoot are fighting. Turns out Bigfoot's from the aliens, and Steve rips his arm off.
Oh yeah, that was extreme.
The whole Bigfoot storyline with Andre the Giant.
Yeah.
And
season 4, episodes 15 and 16. Death Probe, part 1 and part 2. This caused nightmares among, I think, a lot of Gen Xers. and I wouldn't turn away because the episode was so amazing,
Riveting.
and having watched it not too long ago, maybe a year ago, rewatched them, they hold up. They hold up very, very well.
Now, one thing I noticed was that the Venus probe makes a very similar noise to the reverse noise that a lot of hybrid cars and trucks make these days.
Is that a coincidence?
Very simple. No, I don't think so.
But that probe, the sound it made, I mean, they just outdid themselves,
Yeah.
Because first of all, it moved very well. It wasn't like just a plastic model rolling around. And the sound it made, and just the sense that nothing was going to stop it. And then talking again about the nuclear parts, Steve gets his arm crushed by the probe, and Rudy gets a spare to swap out. And I remember trying to do the math. I'm like, how much is this costing? how many nuclear powered arms do they have in storage that they can, swap them out for them, and and that sort of thing. So this was an expensive national security investment. It was
the Venus probe. That was that was a Russian thing, wasn't it?
It was a Russian thing, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, one of the characters in there was a Russian. There are two Russian agents, and one of them was a friend of Steve's, and one of them was not. Is a major, I think, in the Russian intelligence services. Yeah, so it was a Russian.
Do you remember? And I think there was more than one Venus probe. I think there was a couple. I think that story arc happened more than once, as I recall.
Oh.
But do you remember how they destroyed the Venus probe?
The first one? Oh yeah.
How's that?
Oh yeah, they when Steve was fighting it, he jumped over and he saw the little screw hole in the top where they would. It was a loading.
All right.
Yep. And so they were able to, and that was cool because, and that was actually, that scene was really well done because, Steve's arm is failing because the replacement they got him was basically a spare that wasn't supposed to be used as rigorously as his regular one. So you got the scene where he's over there flying this helicopter, lifting it up. He's got to get out, but his arm's failing. And they made the cool sound go, as his arm was going. And so he barely, the whole scene was just so well done. So yeah. Okay, so I'll let you have the next one.
No, that's it, man. That is all I've got.
Season 5, episodes 14 and 15, Return of the Death Probe. And they sexied it up. So.
Oh yes.
Yep.
It wasn't. Yeah. And
now
this
the thing
one had saws and bolos. And, or was that the first one?
I think it was. Didn't you tell me that your dad was questioning why they would have a bolo launcher on a now the saw you can make a case for, right? It's an interplanetary explorer. You take the saw out, you cut a piece of rock, you whatever, you can make the case. The bolo
Venusians.
And I believe the proper answer to your dad to that is be quiet, Dad. I'm watching this show.
Yeah.
But
okay. Mike, my brother and my dad constantly shot him down because whenever he would pick up a car or something, his non-bionic spine wouldn't telescope into a single vertebra. And they always got on his case about that.
Are they scientists? I don't think so.
They are not. They do not have their bionic engineering degree.
But those are it. Those. I mean, I'm sure there's more moments. I started rewatching them. Last year or so, I got sidetracked, so I didn't get as far as I had hoped. So I'm sure there's other moments that maybe we're forgetting about. If you're a fan of the $6 Million Man or the Bionic Woman, if we were talking Bionic Woman, of course, we would have had to bring in Maximilian, the Bionic Dog.
Oh yeah, Bionic Dog,
and other moments too. But let us know what you remember from the $6 Million Man. And I will tell you, not too long ago, well, at least a year ago, you used to be able to watch the $6 Million Man for free on NBC.com. But they have since migrated that over to Peacock. And so if you want to watch it, you have to pay a subscription fee. So it is no longer available for free on the internets. That was invented by some scientist from
the equestrian in 75.
But thanks everybody for joining. Thanks for and again, leave comments, like, subscribe, please share us, and we will see you again next week.
Tell us your favorite. Tell us the ones we missed. It's bring it up to me because I've forgotten so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there, and I'm sure we've forgotten. So thanks so much for y'all's time, and have a great day.
Thanks, gang.